Watch this biased reporter get absolutely annihilated.
Hi, Matthew Skase, Globe and Mail. You've yet to address last week's floor crossing and departure from caucus. Chris D'Entremont said your leadership is why he crossed the floor. How do you respond to comments that your caucus is not united right now?
Well, first of all, I just quote Mr. D'Entremont, who said, and I quote, "Since I first elected here in 2019, the cost of living has skyrocketed. Even then, families in Nova Scotia, as it is now, as it was called at the time back, but is now Acadie and Annapolis, we're struggling. We warned that the Liberals out-of-control spending and massive deficits were irresponsible, but of course they did not listen. Now, after 6 months under the new Prime Minister Mark Carney, who promised fiscal discipline, Canadians are still waiting." He said, Mr. Carney said, I'm quoting Mr. D'Entremont here, Mr. Carney said he would be judged by the cost at the grocery store. Well, Canadians are judging him, and they are not impressed. Since the Liberals came to power, food prices have risen 40%, said Mr. D'Entremont. We have heard it many times here today. It is deliberate, and it is unacceptable. It is inhumane for a G7 country, said Mr. D'Entremont of Liberal policies. He said, "We are a rich country. We are a food basket of a country. We can produce all the food for many people in the world, and we can barely feed ourselves for some reason," end quote. That is how Mr. D'Entremont described the outrageous cost of living as the direct result of Mark Carney's Liberals. I'm very saddened for the Nova Scotia families on whom Mr. Carney and Mr. D'Entremont are raising the price of groceries and homes, but that will not change our resolve to continue to fight for an affordable Canada, affordable budgets, and an affordable future. Thank you.
Rick Bell, Postmedia.
Hey, Rick. Do we still call you the Dinger?
Call me whatever you want. Just don't call me for dinner.
Okay.
We've been told in Alberta for weeks, if not months, that on Grey Cup week that we would get a win in Alberta. And that win would be a pipeline to the West Coast. It would be significant commitment to action on the so-called 9 bad laws. And that would all happen Grey Cup week. That is to say, tomorrow. We are also told somehow there might be some sort of memorandum of understanding between the province of Alberta and Carney. That's just floating out there. I don't know if that's confirmed. What are your thoughts? Because for weeks, months, we've been promised that Grey Cup week, the stamps aren't in, neither is Edmonton, but that Alberta would get a win on both of those files.
Well, tomorrow, it reminds me when you go into the pub, the Liberals are like that pub that has that sign on the wall that says free beer tomorrow. And so you come back the next day and it still says free beer tomorrow. And you keep coming back day after day for the promise of free beer, and the price of beer continues to rise and rise and rise. So they keep telling us that something is going to happen tomorrow. Mark Carney's been Prime Minister for 8 months, promising to move at, quote, unimaginable speeds. And yet, there's not a single project that he has launched that was not already in the making or approved before he took office. Mark Carney needs to do only one thing for us to get a pipeline from Alberta to the Pacific. Get out of the way. Get out of the way.
Get the hell out.
There are trillions of dollars of international investment crying out for the chance to build that pipeline without any government support. All they need is the federal government to stop blocking it. Repeal the get out of the way and repeal the 9 bad laws that block energy projects. Get out of the way and remove the ban on shipping oil off the northwest coast of BC, a ban that only applies to Canadians because, of course, American tankers can travel between Alaska and California in those very same waters, so why not allow Canadians to do the same? Get out of the way and get rid of the Liberal industrial carbon tax so that we can actually produce enough oil to fill a future pipeline. Get out of the way, Mark Carney, and do it now. It has been 8 months. We don't need Mark Carney to put on a hard hat and hold another photo op. He's had countless photo ops in the last 8 months, while investment flees and our industrial sector leaves to the United States of America. He's not got shovels in the ground on anything. Now, I suspect there will be some sort of quote-unquote memorandum. You know something? Memorandums don't pay the bills. We need shovels in ground. So Mark Carney should get out of the way and tell us on what date will shovels be in the ground on a new million-barrel-a-day pipeline from Hardisty, Alberta to Prince Rupert or Kitimat, British Columbia. That's all he's got to do. Give us the date, show us where the shovel will hit the ground, and tell us on when it will happen. That is what we need to have. Get out of the way, Mark Carney.
Hey, Tim Brooks, CTV. You lost 2 MPs the week of the budget. One cited your leadership as a reason for leaving. I just want to put Carney and the Liberals to the side here and just ask you personally.
Of course you do.
Does this say anything about your leadership? Have you maybe reflected on your leadership style moving forward?
No, we are. My plan is to continue to lead and be the only leader in the country that's fighting for an affordable Canada, where our people who work hard can afford a home and food. That is my agenda. And I will just quote Mr. d'Entremont when he speaks about Mark Carney. He says, after 6 months under a new Prime Minister who promised financial discipline, Canadians are still waiting. He said that he would be judged by the cost of groceries at the store. Well, Canadians are judging him, and they are not impressed. He said this only a few months ago. Since the Liberals came to power, food prices are up 40%. We have heard it many times here today. It is deliberate and it is unacceptable. It is inhumane, said Mr. d'Entremont, for a G7 country. So he said that Liberal food price inflation under Mark Carney was inhumane, and I couldn't agree more. And I feel badly for the inhumane conditions, to use his own words, that he is now supporting for his own constituents. But I won't just quote him. I'll quote Nate Erskine Smith, a Liberal MP, who now says that his children should not have to pay for Mark Carney's budget. Let me see here. Now to the bad and more fairly, where expectations were set at a level we failed to meet, including on the question of generational investments. The budget falls short of these specific promises in our platform, and it unfortunately falls well short of the wartime home building effort that many of us thought we'd deliver. It's certainly not a budget that should throw us into an election on an uncertain time, but it does not live up to its promise of generational investments. He goes on to say that this is Mr. Nate Erskine Smith, a Liberal MP, that Mark Carney has broke his promise to spend less, with $90 billion of new spending, only 36% of which is actually capital. The rest is more costs. So when you have a Liberal MP attacking the costly credit card budget that Mr. Carney has put forward, then we see turmoil in the Liberals, and I know that there will be wall-to-wall coverage on CTV of this turmoil, of a Liberal MP criticizing his own budget days before the vote. I know you're camped outside his office right now, waiting to get comment from him. I know you've been chasing Mark Carney down hallways to find out what he has to say. I mean, it's just been the relentless coverage that you will have of this dissent within the Liberal Party. I understand also there's former Liberal Minister Guilbeault is unhappy with the environmental policies, that while he supports raising costs, he doesn't think they raise them enough. We've got Wilkinson is unhappy. So I know that I'm looking forward to seeing the wall-to-wall coverage on CTV of all of the costly turmoil in the Liberal budget. So I will be tuning in tonight to watch your newscast. Thank you.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. Any news network that is receiving taxpayer dollars to stay afloat, that needs to end right away. Especially when it comes to the hours and hours of liberal bias that these mainstream media networks put out. They're so quick to call out Poilievre on things, but will always turn a blind eye when it comes to the Liberals and Mark Carney. It's like shooting one side with a water gun and the other side with an RPG. And the mainstream media loves to fire RPGs at the Conservatives constantly. Anyway, I would like to know what you think down in the comment section below, and have a good one.